Welcome to Loving Me Before I Love You with Tammy Nicole, the podcast dedicated to you loving and putting yourself first. Others have come first in your life for years, and you know it's time for that to change. You're about to be empowered to set healthy boundaries, confidently have hard conversations, unapologetically put yourself first, and live the peaceful life you deserve. Remember, self-love is essential, and loving yourself sets the stage for every other love in your life. So get ready to embrace self-love like never before with your host, Coach Tammy Nicole.
Hey, it is Transformation Tuesday over at Loving Me Before I Love You. You guys, we're in the month of January and we always like to do everything new. Like everything just feels like it has to be new. You either working out because you want to get a new body, you are trying to do new goals because you want this year to be better than last year. Everything just has to be new. But there are some things that you're like, what is it like to start over for real, right? We start over every year, like brand new things. But when you start over in life, sometimes it hits a little different. It's not the same, like, I'm going to get, 20 pounds off of me. Well, maybe it is. But because when you think about it, when you say, what is life like after divorce, after you gain motherhood, after you've been burnt out on a job? Yeah, it may be a little bit of that, 20-pound weight loss. However, when you think about motherhood, when you think about burnout, those things are heavy too, but they come a little differently. And so this episode, that's what we're talking about. What's life like after divorce, after motherhood, and after burnout? I do have a returning guest with me. I'm actually super excited that she's with me. And we're going to talk about it. Life has made some changes in her world. Life has made some changes in mine. And we are doing things new. I know you're probably shocked to see our faces. I mean, you've been seeing it for a couple of weeks. But, we doing this thing with a little video edition. Welcome to the show, Shat'e. I'm so excited that you joined me.
Thank you.
Last time she was here, we were talking career, and today we talking life.
Facts. Thanks for having me. I mean, I had a great time the last time, so I'm looking forward to getting real with everybody. Let's do it.
Because that's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best part, honestly, that I love about this podcast. Everybody, when they come on, they be like, oh my God, I love the concept, or I love the way that you just have genuine conversation. There's no real super scripty. There's no like, oh, we're going to do this segment. And then on the next segment, we're going to do this. And it's like, so kind of like all over the place, but cohesive. It's really just one big conversation about one main topic. And the main topic that always comes along the way is self-love. Like, because to me, it's the foundation of it all. But when we think about life and its shifts that actually show up, major things for us are marriage, divorce, parenting, job, career changes, etc. Those are like your main categories of like extreme change, right?
Right.
So I want to dig into this episode and I want to talk about what life is like finding yourself after these major things. Yeah. I'm going to let you tell your story and then we'll get a couple of questions in there. I know y'all be wanting to ask these questions, but these are everybody's real life stories. So we gon' dig a little deep and let's explore.
Let's do it. Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's talk about your most recent life change.
Yeah, I guess where do I even begin? You might have to pull some things out of me, but the headline is I am recently divorced, and what I'll say about it is not something that I had on my bingo card. It's not something that was ever crossed my mind that it would be a thing. I have no idea. I know how I got here, but it just wasn't. I did not have any foresight about it. It was not a yeah, you couldn't have paid me to believe I would be, you know, this
In this
age,
space.
starting my life over in this way. And it has been a very challenging walk. It's been a very challenging change to navigate. And whatever I can offer to someone who might be experiencing any part of this journey, I count it a blessing to be able to do that now. So yeah,
Yeah.
let me know where you want to go, because
So you just
yeah,
mentioned that you didn't foresee it happening,
no.
yet you know how you got there, right?
Mhm.
So that, of course, leads me to believe well, not even to believe, how do you explain the difference between the two? Because to say, well, I didn't see that coming. And then to also say, but I know how I made it. Like, I know how I reached this point.
Yeah.
It's a lot in between that, right? It's
Yeah.
like, I didn't want it to happen, of course,
Yeah.
but I see how it happens.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good question. So I would have to say is hindsight is 2020, right? So when you're in it, when I was in it, I couldn't have seen it. And you know what's interesting? I guess the main takeaway is it's after a lot of prayer, a lot of processing. I'm constantly in therapy. I've been in therapy through all of this, even through the end of that relationship, was always in therapy. So that's how I've been able to process so much of it and
Mhm,
understand what likely was happening. But I'll say this, I went into marriage really trying to prepare and research as much as I could. You can ask anybody in my friend circle. When I got engaged, I was asking everybody I met, everybody that was married, what's the secret to marriage? What do you wish you had known? What's the lesson?
mhm,
Like literally doing what I say, some deep research. Anybody
mhm,
that would talk about it, I was there listening. And, I know that's part of me too. That is, my therapist always says I can't pre-solve problems. So a lot of that
mhm,
was sort of anxiety, trying to control a situation or an outcome.
mhm,
But yeah, I couldn't have foreseen it coming, meaning I did not go into marriage thinking I had an option of divorce, thinking that it
mhm,
would ever really be on the table. That's what I mean when I say I didn't see it coming. When I say I could see how it happened,
mhm,
that's after a lot of journaling, reflection, prayer, and processing and therapy to know, like, what dynamics I created. So I created a lot of codependent dynamics. It was a lot of performing, I think, on both ends. I was doing a lot of people pleasing and perfectionism and all of these things. And as I started to unlearn those things, unmask those things, it was very disruptive for my relationship, and setting boundaries and not being able to be as easily manipulated or controlled just did not, it didn't work. So, yeah, it's just things became, I think, unhealthy. And maybe it was because the foundation of it maybe was built on something that wasn't as solid because of those masks. And that's just me processing in a moment right now.
And I 100% understand and agree. I always, when people ask me, why did I get a divorce? I always say, I got a divorce because I discovered myself. It's
Mm,
never about him.
yeah.
It's never about what he did or did not do. It's never, it's about me. And which is basically how this podcast developed. It's how, the whole self love sector of my life became a big thing, was because I started to love me. And a lot of
Mm,
times we get into this space of doing things based upon what society say is right or what society says you're supposed to do. And then you wind up in places you don't belong.
mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, right? You grow up as a little girl thinking about your wedding day, thinking about what you want it to look like, right?
Yeah.
I did that whole thing. Like, I had mapped, if my sister was on this call, she would be like, girl, she had it all mapped out. She just needed the man. She didn't need nothing else but the man.
Yeah.
And then I got a man that allowed me to do exactly what I wanted to do,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
And that was a part of the problem too, right? Because I was always operating in a masculine space. So
Mm,
I got a man that didn't operate in masculinity, but I need masculinity in order for me to be who I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
And which brought in a lot of issues because it's like, if I got to do it all, I'm going to do it all by myself.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to do X, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z by myself. And that became a part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to discover me and unlearn bad habits, unlearn the things that I thought was necessary. People pleasing, oh my God, that is the detriment of life. If you don't learn nothing else.
Listen, don't do it. Don't do it.
Because the ultimate, let's even talk about that. Like people pleasing as a whole.
Yes.
When you think about it, what is his real purpose? Like,
okay, let's talk about it. Okay. So I would say a couple things. You said you got divorced because you discovered yourself. I think for me, there was a very real moment where I had to choose myself. I had to say it was a decision between staying in this marriage and continue to lose myself more than I already had, or to save myself, choose me, right? And pull me up out of whatever, I don't know what, I was just a shell of myself. So it was,
facts.
I had to fight back, right? Come back to me. And so that was a very difficult decision. The people pleasing, yes, it's societal, some of it, especially when it comes to women of color, right? We're like, the way that we sort of rally up and save everything and everybody is definitely a societal community type of thing. But the other thing that is particular to me, and I think probably a lot of people can resonate with this as well, is my core sort of trauma or issue is abandonment, which is interesting because I grew up in a household with two parents and very loved. And so I can't really say, I can kind of say maybe where it came from, and maybe some of it's generational as well. But I just went through life always wanting to belong, always wanting to like fit in, always wanting to, right, just make sure I was not by myself. Like I can be alone in terms of I'm an introvert, but I want to be connected to community. And so I was doing a lot of performing, perfectionism, people pleasing, in an effort to not be abandoned. Let me keep the peace. Let me not have any conflict. Like, let me do all of these things so the people around me are happy and have what they need. And at least I will belong. But in the
that they would choose you.
That they would choose me. But here's the thing, in the process of doing all of that, and now ever since I discovered I was doing this, I've been going around telling everybody don't do it. In the process of all of that, it's like I'm abandoning myself.
Facts.
I'm choosing to abandon myself so that they won't abandon me. But at the end of the day, what this divorce taught me at the end of the day is like, I choose me, period. I don't care who comes, who goes, who stays, who leaves. Like me, God, like whoever's supposed to be here is going to be here.
Facts.
And that's it. And so I was operating from a really sort of deficit, I think, mindset when it comes to my sense of self. And that I don't think you can really build a healthy relationship from that perspective.
Facts. Literally, it's the thing that I've worked on towards the end of last year. I started and released it, but I started a solo dating journal. And the solo dating journal literally walks you through the stages of a relationship. It shows you the parallels of a relationship with yourself versus a relationship with someone else and how technically they're equally the same. So my biggest thing is that you cannot be loved properly until you're seen clearly. And that starts with you, right? If you don't see yourself clearly, you won't love yourself properly. And then you won't show up so other people can see you and also love you properly. But we are so societal driven that everything that society says is right, we believe it. And then we try achieving it. We try going afterwards because it's like, that looks good. Oh, she got a man that brings her flowers every day. Or she is getting flown out for anniversaries and birthdays. He really loves her. And it's like, does he really? Like, I mean, what is the other parts of the story that you don't see? Right? What does that really look like? But when we talk about like people pleasing, it does automatically result back into abandonment and desiring to be chosen. And a lot of times, and I love that you mentioned that you come from a 2-parent household, because a lot of times people think that it's an automatic daddy issue thing for women. or just nobody wanted you, or you were adopted, or there was some parental loss. Now, could there have been? Possibly. If we dug a little deeper, we may find from an emotional standpoint you were neglected, that you didn't see. Like, yes, my people were present, but were they present? You know? Or yes, they did all the things, but did they do the things that you needed? So a lot of times parents, and we talk about even finding yourself after motherhood and stuff like that, parents, we don't always tap into kids from an emotional standpoint. We tap into them from their athletic abilities or their academic abilities. And it's like, oh, I'm going to feed you, clothe you. I'm going to make sure that you become who I see or think you should be based upon my, inspiration and my thoughts towards you. But we don't necessarily always tap into them and say, who are you? Are you okay? How are you feeling? And really tap into that. So it could be things like they don't know that you were emotionally neglected and not, and needing someone to pick you and choose you and love on you from that intimate space, because everybody thinks so surface. People don't dig deeper. You know what I mean? Like, it's really it's a struggle. It's a struggle, to say the least.
And I would say also that our parents did the best that they could with who they are. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, and what they know. Facts.
Exactly. We are around here having the privilege of talking about therapy and healing and all of those things, when so many of, older generations, like, the way that they had to survive was just different than the way that we had to survive. And so,
Facts.
it's just we started from a different starting point in terms of that type of awareness, right?
Absolutely. And it's never a finger pointing. It's always about understanding and saying, oh, you know what? You talk about awareness. It's like, oh, that's where that started.
Exactly.
But any and everything that you experience, it is based upon the capacity of the person, period, right? Even our own capacities, learning what they are. Because a lot of times we think things are based upon like how we filter through.
Yeah.
When reality is, what is your capacity to hold? So it's not just about how do I cope with something. It's what is my capacity for handling it?
Yeah.
And do I need to adjust, or do I need to stop? Because this is where boundaries and all of those things kind of like filter in. We don't learn boundaries as kids. We don't learn them until we're adults. And some of us, even as adults, don't have any.
Yeah.
And and a lot of times people think boundaries are for other people, and they're really for yourself. They're not for other people.
Yep.
They're your own regulatory rules for you. How do you want to operate, and how do you want to show up? Period.
Yep. And how you want other people to show up for you, or how you want to be treated, right?
So, ultimately a standard is for them, a boundary is for you. Like, if I set a boundary, I'm not setting it for you. It's like, I will not continue in this conversation if you continue to yell at me.
Yeah.
That's my boundary, right? Though you are technically included, it's not for you. It's on me to walk away if you keep yelling.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of times people look at boundaries, as walls and things that you kind of like are putting up to protect yourself, or, to keep other people away. And it's like, no, it's about setting your own guidelines of how you want to show up and operate, and what's enough for you. What is your capacity? What can you do in this particular space?
Yep. Absolutely.
So, I just think we got to do a little better. You know what I mean? But when you go through a divorce and you become a mom, or you go through a job that burns you out, I know you did a lot of career work previously, so you understand like that burnout spectrum. Let's get back to your process though. So you started doing all the work. You started figuring out like, this is not what I want to do anymore. It's not healthy for me. Right. And then choosing yourself. What was that process like when you decided the choice I'm making today, though difficult and hard, it's necessary. And then what are the steps I'm going to do after that, after the decision? Because I always tell people, there's a difference between choices and decisions, but you had to make a decision.
It was, I guess I keep saying brutal because it's a painfully difficult decision, right? For me, it was very, and I'm speaking for myself. Yeah. So I think there are always two sides of the story, I guess is what I'm trying to say. My perspective is that it was just very toxic. And I've said that very openly to that person. Like it just became unhealthy, all manner of what I now understand to be like versions of either narcissistic abuse or emotional abuse. Just like it just wasn't healthy, right? It was more than like, oh, we don't communicate well, or we don't handle conflict well, or you know what I mean? Or you want to move on this side of town and I want to move on that side of town, or you want to paint the room red and I want to paint it orange. It was like deep rooted. Parts of it felt like control. Parts of it was like my experience felt like gaslighting, felt like manipulation. It felt like passive aggression. It felt like walking on eggshells. It was like I never knew what I was going to get, right? So to answer your question, I honestly thought I was hiding what I was going through pretty well. So I was just keeping it to myself, trying to deal with it myself. I was doing a lot of prayer and fasting and like what's the way to turn around, trying to communicate, literally trying to over communicate, like help me understand what the gap is. This is what I'm experiencing. This is what you're experiencing. How can we bridge the gap? What is the thing that we need to do to turn the page, right? Nothing works. Like nothing is working. Nothing is turning it around. And it wasn't until my family and friends were like, what's up? Like, you're not the same. What are you going through? And I was like, oh, snap, I'm not hiding it. Well, they're like, girl, no, like you're crying all the time. You're just not you. It took me a minute to be in that space where there was like no peace in the home. I am feeling like this. My nervous system was just shot. Like, didn't feel safe anywhere. And I just couldn't get myself together. Even through all of that, I'm getting to answering your question. Even through all of that, I was still like, maybe it's me. People stay in their relationships for like decades. What's wrong with me? Why am I not able to suck it up and move forward and just like I'm clearly doing it wrong. I'm clearly doing marriage wrong because here I am. I can't live like this. I can't live like this. And I can't change the other person. And I'm doing everything that I know how to do for there to be some kind of peace, right? And so this is going to sound weird, and I'm hesitant to say it because it makes me feel a little crazy. But I'm doing a lot of prayer and fasting, and I feel like every time I was like praying about it or specifically fasting about it, I would land somewhere that was just like two words: let go, let go. And I was like tussling with God, like, what do you mean let go? I'm married. I don't even know what that looks like, right? And every time it was two things that was happening. Every time I would be like, nope, I'm gonna figure it out. The conflict would turn up a notch. Or if God is saying to me, like, let go or trying to navigate me through it, then that person would come to me and be like, it's over, right? Like their version of the thing. And so it was almost like trying to like do it for me. So it took a while. I guess what I'm trying to say is it took a very long time for me to even get to a point where I was like, okay, I got to call it. Like, I don't know what else to do, right? It took me a while to get there. And then even after making that decision, I still was doing a lot of back and forth. Like, is that the right decision? Did you hear from God? Did you just make that up? Are you just telling yourself that? Right? Like seeking wise counsel. I'm asking, spiritual leaders. I'm still like doing all of these things. But at the end of the day, I had to listen to my body at a certain point. Right? My nervous system was it was just shot. And I had read this book last year. We actually both read this book that was The Garden Within with Anita Phillips. And she's talking about your emotions and how it was like almost a God in therapy kind of book. So she's a minister and she's a mental health professional. And so she's talking about how to listen to our emotions and what they're trying to tell us. And you got to pay attention to your body and like how it shows up in scripture, right? So I had really started to like face my feelings at a certain point and pay attention to my body. And there was this one point where I had gone back to the house after being away for a little bit, and I just was sobbing there. Like I literally feel like I had a reaction to the home. Like I just couldn't even, it took me a minute to work up the strength to just walk up the stairs. Right. And so it was after that moment where I was like, something's wrong here. It felt like my body was actively rejecting
the house.
The idea of being back there, like going back there in that space. And so it wasn't until that moment where I was like, okay, I really have to pay attention. Like I can't live like that. I won't live like that. I won't do that. And so, yeah, I just went through the process from there of having the very difficult conversations. You know, there's always a lot of back and forth. It gets you, I would say I thought that the worst of it was over at that point, and then it gets worse, right? Like,
absolutely.
you navigate divorce, and then it's like betrayal and hurt and all of these other ways that I hadn't foreseen. And so to say that I was tested, ooh, my gosh. But I also learned how incredibly strong I am. Also learned that God is like with me through all of it. I had a lot of spiritual guilt too. Like you go to church and they're like, you know, divorce not an option. And, you know, I'm serving in my church. And I was like, gosh, what's the pastor going to say? What's everybody going to say? And my mom, who is an elder in a church, she's a minister herself, an ordained minister. She was like, baby, like, God is not requiring all of this from you. And I did read some things that was like, God does not value. There's this one book, I'll just give it a shout out, Life-Saving Divorce. And it's just talking about all of the ways that abuse shows up. You know, people think it's just sexual, physical, financial, but it's like all of these
emotional, mental.
Right? Yeah.
Oh no, it's all of those things.
Nuances, right? And so in that book, it was like God values you, your relationship, your personhood more than the institution of marriage. And so it was stuff like that in my community that really, in terms of the steps after the decision, that sort of helped me stay the course. I know I said a lot of words, but that's basically.
Yeah, but I mean, ultimately, it's really about like understanding who you were in it. I know that probably a number one question. I always got this question.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, you know, it's like, before you married him, did he do the same things he was doing in the marriage? Did you not see that this was who he was? Nobody changes that drastic. Right?
Yeah. I have thoughts on it. I mean, it's a couple of things. One, I have become someone different. So the person I was when I got married was someone who, again, was wrapped up in performing in her own way. She was people pleasing and perfectionism and all of those things. And so if I am then sort of attracting someone who's doing the same thing, right? And my therapist says, if somebody wants to fool you, they're going to do what they need to do to fool you. Not in a like fraudulent kind of way, but if this person is mirroring everything that you say, literally parroting it sometimes, like everything you're like, oh yeah, me too, me too, me too. This is us. And then all of a sudden, yeah, like I think that only holds up for so long, right? At a certain point, the slip starts to show. And so it was a little bit of, were there flags that I could have paid more attention to? Sure. Right. And for me, I was going back to self-abandonment. There were things that were interesting, a little bit uncomfortable for me, but I would be like, I gaslit myself essentially. So let's take the idea of love bombing, right? Which is something that we weren't talking about much before, but someone is like showering you with all of these grandiose like displays of affection. There's a reason for that. There's like an intention behind that. And it was happening to me. And I would say things to myself like, are you that jaded that you can't accept someone showering you with love? Like making it a me thing, right?
Yeah, talk yourself into it.
Exactly. Or, why why is everything on social media? I got to post everything on social media. I was like, I mean, can you follow somebody if you want to live there? Right? Like literally
Yeah.
every single time there was like a little bit of my spirit's telling me like, girl, I'd be like, it's fine. It's me. I'm the problem. Like some woman would love to have this. I'm the problem. So it's like, it's all of that. You wake up and you're like, oh snap, actually, I really do still have I have a problem with all of that still. And now it's just worse. And now guess what? I'm married. So it's like,
Yeah.
listen to your intuition early on is what I would say to that.
Yeah, and then the other part of that could have also been the fact that you were being chosen, right? So
Yeah.
it's like where you want to be so connected, you will accept things even if the things that you don't per se desire. It's
Yeah.
like, but they're choosing me.
Yeah. Nobody's
So and
perfect.
so, I would have to beg for that. But
Yeah.
I ain't begging for it. It's coming. It's given, And so those things, what I call false,
Wow, today's episode is a good one. I know you're enjoying it, and we'll get back to it shortly. Just wanted to take a quick break to let you know that Tammy would love for you to share any questions, comments, or topic ideas you have with her. All you have to do is send them to her in an email to podcast@IamTammyNicole.com. Thank you, and without further ado, let's get back into today's show.
illusions of what you really want. Now, you did mention, and I say this all the time, we attract who we are, not who we want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, and relationships are 100% mirrors. They are reflecting back to you the areas in you that need to change.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening when I say you like find yourself after divorce, or how I say for myself, I got a divorce because I discovered myself. It really comes back to seeing the reflection, not liking it, doing something about it. But the other person, even though they see that same reflection, they refuse to change. They refuse to do something different.
Yeah.
So they keep going in the original viewpoint, and your view changes. And so they're no longer holding the mirror.
Yeah.
So that relationship is no longer valid.
Yeah.
Because you are not allowing me to see me, because the me that you saw and thought that existed no longer exists.
Yeah, baby, she does not. She died. She died.
She no longer exists. So when you go and you're having that, because relationship means to relate. So when you're going into that space, it's like there is no more relating happening here. And because I cannot relate to you, I must leave. I must remove myself from the equation, because it's what's there.
That's good. I like that. We're no longer relating. But I've heard people sort of spin that for a negative thing. It feels so nuanced, because there are moments where there is no easy relationship. So I just want to say that, right? Like every relationship is going to have its share of stuff. I think what I learned the most, though, is that there's a difference between difficult and destructive. Like difficult,
Facts.
Life is happening to us. Maybe we're not seeing eye to eye. Maybe we're growing at different rates, right? Like there's sickness, there's family, there's finances, there's all of those things. That feels like, of course, we're going to go through that stuff together, right? Fertility, that was a large part of our experience as well. Like all of that is just life. And then there comes a point, though, like if you are now feeling like you're attacked all the time, like it's just destructive, it feels harmful to you as a person in any way, you really
we're no longer relating.
You really
so
have
even in
to that. Yeah.
So even in those difficult times, we're still relating to one another. Why?
Yes.
Because we're experiencing those things together.
Yes.
Those things are happening to us, not to one person or the other. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So when we are no longer relating, then it's no longer happening to us as a unit. It's us happening to each other. In other words, which is a different experience. That's a different thing. And so that to me is when it's like exit stage left, because it's no longer serving us. A relationship, any relationship, right, should allow you, a few months ago, I did a post on TikTok that talked about how relationships are mirrors, but I also talked about how the relationship is a therapeutic workplace.
Mm.
And when you think about them and you're working on the things that show up that are things that you may need to work on or things of that nature, it's not always an attack. If someone is kind of like just showing, hey, these are your blind sides. These
Yeah.
are the areas that, you could improve or grow in, then if you take it as an attack, then you typically attack back.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are using the relationship as the tool it was meant to be used for, then you like, oh, for real? Okay. Let me note that. Let me look at that the next time it pops up. It's
Yeah.
not always a immediate fix. Oh, because it came from him or it came from her, I need to change this immediately. Sometimes it takes observation. It takes a deeper dive for yourself. Like, wait a minute, I didn't know I did that, but since you brought it to my attention, I'll take a closer look.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I agree. Go ahead. I don't want to. It just brought to mind
It's just
all kinds of things. But yes,
I'm pretty sure, right? It's
yeah.
like wait. But I just think in general, when we talk about losing ourselves within relationships, it is a big thing, right? We as women tend to lose ourselves more.
Yeah.
Because we are always the one trying to make in the household just feel peaceful and the love there and just kind of handling everything and not trying to make a big fuss. We understand the idea that men go out into the world and have the whole world on their shoulders and they're fighting against just being a man and then turn around if they're African American, being a black man, and that's just a lot in itself. And so when they come home, it's like you're not trying to add any more weight or pressure to their load. So you are basically suppressing your own needs, suppressing your wants, the issues that come up your way. You no longer want to bring them to the table. So then you start to lose yourself in the struggle. When in reality, both parties are supposed to be the safe space for both individuals to like release and discuss and talk about like the things that are bothering them so that they are able to rebuild and change and reconstruct and all these other things together, not separate.
Yes. And I would say, I think a couple of things about that idea of losing yourself. To your point, it doesn't happen overnight. It's an incremental, like choice after choice after
Gradual.
choice. Every moment that I dismissed what I actually felt, what I needed, what I thought, right? Suppressed it, ignored it. I was moving further and further away from myself, right? I heard someone say at a conference recently, I was living estranged from myself. And I was like, ooh, that's exactly the right words. I've heard at that same conference, it was someone said, they'd broken up with parts of themselves, right? Like those are all words to describe the same thing. And the other thing I had to work through when it comes to that idea in therapy is like, I tend to overcorrect, right? And so I'm like, oh, I'm abandoning myself. So let me just pick me all the time. And she's like, no. Like the idea is to not be living solely out of obligation. So if I wake up every day and everything that I'm doing is just out of obligation, then likely I have lost myself. I've abandoned myself in some way. And so it's like, there might be some moments where you choose to compromise and say, you know what, actually, I'd rather do this one thing than this. And, but I'm going to do it because I love you. And she's like, in those moments, just verbalize that and say, hey, actually, I would prefer to do X, but I'm going to show up and do Y because it's important to you. Maybe next time we're going to do X for me. Right. And so that keeps sort of the resentment at bay is what she said. But essentially it's like, how can you find a way to like, I guess, find some harmony with obligation and what you actually really need? Because we all have responsibilities. We have, if we're in relationship with family or friends or job or anything, we've got responsibilities to those things. And, no, I don't want to go to work every day. But like you still, that's an obligation that you get up and do if you want to pay your bills. Right. And so it's like, how can you find a way to, find some harmony.
Get the balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's about getting the balance. But I think the other thing when you talk about doing things out of obligation versus doing them for you, right? You can't overly do it, right? It's not like, oh, I've been doing this for y'all all this time. It's me. It's all about me. And then you just kind of like throw everybody else to the curb. No, you have to do some level of balance. However, it's learning and understanding capacity for yourself. It's oh no, I don't have the capacity to help you right now. So no, that answer is no. But it's also understanding to say no to yourself. So the other things that I think we don't do often that we probably should do is look at the desires that we have of other people for us and the desires that we have for ourselves. So a lot of times it's like, I want you to show up and support me all the time. But do you show up and support yourself all the time? I want you to say no, right, for overextension. You overextend yourself, but do you say no?
Yeah.
No, a lot of times no. Like, so the things that we always desire from other people, we don't tend to actually lend our own direction. And so for me, like when I teach self-love and I teach women that, if you put yourself first, the other stuff that's giving you headache and hell, it wouldn't do it because you would understand your limits, your capacity, and be able to negotiate, rationalize out, ration out the different, delegate, do all these things based upon you, period.
Yeah.
It's seeing you for you. It's being able to not just do things from selfishness, but do things based upon your actual ability. Like if I keep pouring from a cup that never gets refilled, at some point that cup is going to be empty.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't keep pouring. I can't keep giving. You're not a bank account. You can't go in overdraft.
Yeah, that's when you get into burnout. That is so real in terms of, I've turned into one of those people that says my therapist says, but yes, one of the things another thing she says is like, when you fill your cup up, what's in the cup is for you and the overflow is for everybody else. But to your point though, it's like, we have to love ourselves first. Whatever we are asking or looking for, whatever we feel like we need, we've got to find a way to give it to ourselves first. So if I want to not be abandoned, if I want to be loved, if I want to be accepted, if I want to not judged, if I need compassion, I need to give all of those things to me, to Shat'e first.
Correct.
And then, everybody else is welcome to it. But yeah, it can't be like, one of the things I think I've just noticed is like a lot of folks feel like their validation, their sense of self is so anchored to external validation.
Facts.
Right? And it's like, how can we shift that?
Validate ourselves.
Exactly.
Like the very thing you're searching and seeking for from other people, you have the ability.
You already have it.
To give it to yourself. You just refuse to see it. Because society has told you it comes from everywhere else. Like the slogan of our show, the slogan of my business is love yourself so much that the love from others is a bonus.
Yes, I love that.
Period. Right? So, and that bonus goes both ways. You're giving yourself so much that when somebody else gives you something, it becomes overflow. But also that overflow goes into other people. Like it's to flow out. It is not just to sit and be like, oh, I just have all this extra love. And it's like, no, you should have what you need. Period. But we don't do it that way that often. It's just more so we're looking for everybody else to give it to us, give it to us, give it to us. And when you're not receiving it, you're sitting back wondering, why can't I get it? We were talking before getting on the air about, where we are, et cetera. And I'm like, I'm ready for love myself. I'm like, hey, it's just too much in the pool. Like, right? Now, if I'm like truly honest, most of the issue is really the fear of it. If I'm 100% honest, because I've been through it, right?
Yeah.
So it's the fear of, will I find that right person this time? And it's not just like, because I know I'm going to attract myself and I'm okay with that because, I love me some me and all of those things. And not that I'm perfect because I'm 100% not, let's be clear. But I am self-aware.
Yeah.
And I am an accountable individual. I will take accountability for anything that I'd say, do, or whatever, right, wrong, or indifferent.
Yeah.
However, that's what I expect Like, that's what I expect from other people, period, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But the fear of not getting it, and everybody says, but if you believe that you attract, yourself, then why is the fear there? The fear is there because guess what? I've never had it.
Yeah.
So the fear of actually receiving it and knowing what to do with it is a real thing. So a lot of times even when I teach women all the time, it's like, you haven't become the woman you want to become because you are scared of what that woman really looks and feels like. You envisioned her, but you don't know what she feels like. And because you're scared to experience it, you won't walk in it. That's why we have so many people that know so much and do so little. And people say, oh, wait, what? My uncle used to say all the time, people do better if they know better. And I said, I don't know if I believe that anymore. I think people know a lot, but are afraid to execute, are afraid to do because of the fear of what that really feels like, look like for real, and like in real time. It's like they think about it, they envision it, but that's why you have people that manifest one thing and the other people wish their manifestation will show up.
Well, listen, we're all manifesting, to be honest. Like, we're all, the choices we make, the things we think are manifesting. It's either manifesting what you do want or what you don't want, period, right? I would say, though, like, it's 1000% you're true on that. But it's, if I'm just taking it to a spiritual lens, like, that's where faith comes in. Like, I heard someone recently say the information age has made us feel entitled to information. Like, we don't know something, we can Google it right away and figure it out, even with AI now, right? Like, so we have all of this information at our fingertips, and it has given us this sort of false sense of certainty, this false sense of control. And so we think that we're supposed to navigate our entire lives that way. But for those of us with any kind of spiritual practice, that is
you
actually,
need Jesus.
right? Like that is the actual opposite of faith journey. And I think that's what I've been on for however long this has been going on, right? God has been showing me, like, you've probably been afraid to move a lot of ways because you can't figure it out. You don't know how, you don't see all the steps, you don't, right? And it's like, so if you could, you wouldn't really actually need me. And so I've had to learn so much in this season, how to trust myself and how to trust God at the same time. And like, I will say, that faith journey is so uncomfortable. It's like the vulnerability, the uncertainty, like all of that. I'm not even gonna lie, it's like uncomfortable. But as long as you have the support that you need, right? It's possible, because the alternative is like being in a life that doesn't light you up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that part sometimes can be difficult if you don't have the right support system in place. But some of us are too scared to get the support system. Right? A lot of us don't have it. A lot of us don't have people that see us. We have people that see certain pieces of us, but not all of us.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is not necessarily just their fault. A lot of it can be our fault because we won't let them in.
Yeah.
Depending on the type of person you are. I mean, I'm guilty, right? I'm the one everybody comes to for X, Y, and Z. So when I'm going through, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to no one, right? And those individuals are so used to doing all the coming that they don't come and check in. It's like, wait, you don't get I haven't talked to her in a minute. And then realize, well, I haven't talked to her because I ain't been going through and I ain't really need to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of times that's just kind of like where we end up. But when we find ourselves, when we start pouring into ourselves, when we actually decide that we matter, when we choose us, when we understand our worth and our value, when we learn to give compassion to ourselves, when we see us become self-aware, provide the self-forgiveness, forgive yourselves from the decisions that you made that led you to the places that you're in, regardless if you really feel like I did this to me, you're an active participant, no matter which way you flip the coin.
Yeah. Everybody has a role in it. Everybody. There's no
everybody played a part.
And if you're always the victim, then, that's something else to
my bad. I forgot we're going to be on videos.
That's a different conversation. Yeah. But even if you think about it's so true. I know that some people, when they hear conversations like this, they feel like it's selfish because we've been taught to sort of believe that. But if you think about even on a flight, and this is the analogy everybody
Put
always
your
uses,
mask on
they say, put your mask on first before you help other people. And this, what we're talking about here, is the exact same principle. So it's not like choose yourself over everybody else and like nobody else's needs matters. Like, no, 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 no. It's like, put yourself on the table. Put yourself the same way that you got the plate with everybody else's stuff. Like, put yourself there first, tend to your needs, and to your point, like honor your capacity for everybody else's stuff. And the other thing with the codependent dynamics I was creating, you know, the people pleasing, the perfectionism, trying to fix everything for everybody else. At a certain point, it's like, God even had to check me. Like, I didn't ask you to do all of that. Like, I'm just
you
picking
stepping
up
out of
stuff,
your own lane.
like, I got it, I got it, I got it, I got it. And then you wake up and it's like, oh snap, I actually don't got it. And that was never required of me. But if you keep giving in that way, guess what? People gonna keep taking, right? And so
Yeah.
it's all been a lesson. All been very, very hard lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could give the listeners one value that you took out of finding yourself after the divorce, what would it be?
Like a lesson?
That you actually value. So it's something that you like, this I will never forget, and it will always be with me moving forward, no matter what relationship, be it platonic, romantic, professional. I'm taking this rule of thumb with me.
Radical self-acceptance, radical self-love. Like, I am committed to loving, honoring, respecting myself in all the ebbs and flows through my life. To your point, I don't think I'm perfect. I don't get it right 100% of the time, but I'm putting in a concerted effort to live my life to the very best of my ability. And so in any relationship that I am in from forevermore, there has to be 100% acceptance of me. Not all 100% acceptance of my behavior. That doesn't mean I get to do whatever and you don't get to check me and you don't, right? But like, I get to show up fully expressed as Shat'e, and you're not trying to change me. You're not trying to control me. You're not trying to censor me. You're not trying to any of those things that I was likely doing to myself before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be, it's just like another way to say that is just honest. It has to be real. If it's not, then no, thank you.
Yeah. Transparent and honesty. 100%
Mm-hmm.
agree.
Yeah.
So I know that you've had a lot of changes after everything. You have your new, the purpose post. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, purpose post has sort of always been around in the background. I think of the first conversation we had in the previous season, I was talking about Career Steward. Career Steward is still the parent company, but now the purpose post is a DBA. But I was sort of, even in how I started my business, really like listening to what other people were telling me I should do. And I was still like, but I want to do this other thing. And I'd be like, but can you get paid doing it? And then finally I was like, no, this is what I'm called to do. So this is what I'm doing. And essentially is, you know, we talked a lot about career fulfillment and, you know, how to have a career that lights you up. And I learned in all of my time, like in workforce development, my own experience, that so many folks don't choose the more fulfilling path because of fear, right? I get a lot of folks that came to me that was like, I don't know what to do next, either after like a layoff or poor leadership or a major life change. And after all these conversations, it was like, actually, they really do know what they want to do, but they're just too scared to do it. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times it's because we don't see a pathway forward. And so what I do on the purpose post is tell all these stories of everyday people who have made choices towards purpose and how they're like finding purpose, building the courage to bet on themselves, and like living lives on their own terms. And so it's a bunch of those kind of stories, like Under the Hood. I don't know if you've ever watched like any kind of show, like I love Unsung and all of those. And it's like you look under the hood on how they actually did it. It's like that for your like purpose and for careers. A little bit like masterclass, but instead of learning skills from famous people, you are seeing the stories of everyday people who are living in purpose.
Yeah. So again, all bounce back to loving you, right? Yep. And developing who you're supposed to be ultimately, no matter what life throws at you. So it's been a pleasure again having you on the show. I'm so excited that you joined me. Tell the people where they can find you, how
Yeah.
they can find the Purpose Post if they want to connect and get all those goodies.
Thank you for having me. I mean, this conversation was just as good as the first one. And congratulations on 4 seasons. Turn up. You can find me at thepurposepost.com. So you'll go and see all the stories. We have articles. We've got some new video content, like a web series coming out. We've got a little documentary coming out about healing from self-abandonment. But if you go there and subscribe to our newsletter, you'll get one of these stories every single week sent directly to your inbox to help you reconnect with yourself and the work that lights you up. So thepurposepost.com.
Awesome. Okay, you guys. So, if you definitely want to learn how to love yourself a little bit better, a little more, you don't love yourself at all, you can definitely send an email to coaching@IamTammyNicole.com. You want to get the self-love journal. It's a solo dating journal. It's called Me, Myself, and Love. You definitely need it. You can definitely get it off of Amazon or on the website. It's always Transformation Tuesday over here, and we always say, love yourself so much that the love from others is a bonus. Have a good one.
That's a wrap on another episode of Loving Me Before I Love You. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a second to show your support by subscribing and leaving a positive rating and review on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Stay connected with Tammy. Make sure you're following her on Instagram and TikTok at Coach Tammy Nicole. If you like to work with Tammy or have any questions you'd like her to answer, please head over to www.IamTammyNicole.com. Until next time, always remember to love yourself so much that the love from others is a bonus.